used to fap. I used to stroke my shit literally every day. I went to school, walked through the hallways pretending every girl wants me. They didn't. And then I came home on the bus, and the first thing I would do is go in the bathroom, pull out my phone, and stroke my shit. It took me a very long time to learn how to break this habit. It's one of the hardest addictions most men have to fight. But there were 4 very specific things I did that helped me finally overcome lust. And today, I'm gonna tell you what they are. You want to learn how to overcome lust. Lust is something that I have struggled with for a very long time, and it really wasn't until this year and like sometime around last year when I really started learning how to control myself, and I started implementing a bunch of different things that kind of made it much easier for me to control the urges that I got less often, very minute, to eventually just completely stopping. So there's 4 things that I realized helped me out after I had stopped. I didn't really know these things until after I had stopped. The only 4 things, honestly, that really matter when it comes to stopping not just PMO, but any addiction. All 4 of these things can be used in all of those situations too, but for this video specifically, I'm going to talk about lust. The first thing that I did that supremely helped me out, finally overcoming this after years and years, disassociating the action from the feeling. What I mean by disassociate the action from the feeling is just that. Basically, whenever you have an urge, right? Whenever you have an urge to go and watch that stuff, relapse, whatever, the reason why you even want to go do that in the first place is because you subconsciously associate the urge and the feeling of the natural urge of horniness and, you know, having a sex drive, and subconsciously associate that natural feeling with an unnatural action. That unnatural action is fapping. Being horny, actually having a sex drive, that's normal. Normal humans have that. The reason why that action is connected to that feeling in your head is because you've done it for so long. For the last, like, I'm gonna assume 6, 7, 8 years, every single time you got that natural urge, that natural feeling, you went and you jerked off and you relapsed every single time. So what happened is over that super long period of time, you have subconsciously, without even realizing it, linked those 2 actions with that feeling. So now every single time you get the feeling, the urge, the first thing you want to do is relapse. This is the first thing you want to do because you've done it for so long. For the last 7 years, every single time you've got that feeling, what have you done? You know what I'm saying? You've relapsed. You started watching porn. So the thing that you need to do, consciously unlink that action from that feeling. And you need to do that every single time you get the urge, because eventually what will happen, if you're a man, you're going to get horny. That's something that's just going to happen. There's never going to be a point in your life, there's not some point in your day when you feel like having sex. Those urges are going to come because it's a natural part, human biology. It's just going to happen. You can't stop that, which is what a lot of you try to do. You try to stop the urge. That's not going to happen. What you need to stop is going out of your way to do something when you get the urge. Just because you have an urge doesn't mean you have to do something about it. And that's what really helped me. Every single time I started getting that urge, I basically it was like a little light bulb in my brain. I started realizing, oh, this doesn't mean I have to go do something about it. I could just feel this, let it pass, and move on with my day. Every single time you get that urge, every single time you get that feeling where you want to go, you want to relapse, literally just sit there and just close your eyes and think for a second. This feeling does not mean I have to go do that action, right? Just because I feel horny does not mean I have to go watch porn. I could sit here and do whatever I'm doing right now and still have that feeling. It's not like linked. It's not like you have to go do something about it. You don't. You could I wouldn't say ignore it, but you could just acknowledge it. Acknowledge the fact that you have these feelings, but you just don't act on it. Just sit there, acknowledge it, and move on with your day. It'll be way easier. In the span of like a week, it'll be way easier for you to stop. That's what you need to do. Disassociate the action from that feeling. That's the first thing you need to do. The second thing that you need to do to finally overcome lust once and for all is to limit your screen time on your phone. I don't know, this is one of those things that's really obvious, but at least for me, like you hear that and then you go and you spend like the next 8 hours on your phone, even though you're not even like trying to. Like, it'll be unconscious. I'm telling you, from somebody who used to be like that, you need to like actually take it serious and do it. One of the absolute biggest and best ways to prevent yourself from relapsing is to never give yourself urges in the first place. I've literally wrote it down. Like, I've been this serious about this before. I've literally wrote this down every single time that I have been successful on nofap. Every single time that I have gone on a really long streak. Every single time that I've actually succeeded in not watching porn. It has always, literally every time, been because I have not triggered myself. I have not given myself any triggers or any urges. There has never been a time where I've been on a streak. I go on social media and I see something, or I get an urge or something like that, and I haven't relapsed. Every single time I do that, I relapse. So I'm telling you, you need to limit your screen time, because I can guarantee you at some point in the day, you're going to see something sexual. I promise you. You could go on Google and you could see one ad. That one little pop-up ad could ruin your whole streak. The more and more time you spend on your phone, eventually at some point you're going to see something sexual. It's impossible to escape. You're not going to be able to do this unless you limit your screen time. You want to avoid triggers as much as possible, right? You want to disassociate the action from the feeling, and you want to avoid triggers as much as possible. And the best way to avoid triggers as much as possible is to just limit the time you spend on your phone. Do not spend a lot of time on the internet. Every single time you want to watch something, do it on the TV. You're bored, go read a book, bro. There's a little app. It's in settings, but if you just go on settings and you look up like your screen time on your phone, basically what I want you to do, I want you to look at your screen time almost every day, your daily average screen time, to get lower and lower and lower months and months and months, until eventually you're consistently only spending like a really little amount of time on your phone. Like, I used to look at it every day. My daily average on my phone used to be like 10 hours. And every time I reminded myself how much time I spent on my phone, I would actively want to spend less. You just need to hold yourself accountable with your screen time, and you need to do that by reminding yourself of how much time you spend on your phone. Because a lot of people who spend all day on their phones, they do it like it's not conscious. That's probably the best thing you could do for avoiding triggers, and avoiding triggers is honestly the #1 way to stop. The third thing to finally overcome this addiction: find a goal or a purpose and keep yourself busy. After you limit your screen time, right? Find a purpose, find a goal, and then keep yourself busy. So I would say, find your purpose, find your goals, keep yourself busy. And the less occupied you are with that, the more occupied you're going to be with your phone. I hear a lot of people ask me, like, how do I find my purpose? Well, really, I don't know, what's the best way I can describe it? It can be anything, but really just sit down and think about something that you want to create. You probably spend most of your time consuming. 99% of your day is probably spent consuming something. You're eating something or you're watching something. So I just want you to sit down and think about something you want to create. So for me, obviously it's content. I replaced all of the time that I spent consuming with creating. So now, instead of watching other people's YouTube videos, I like making YouTube videos. So what do I do instead? I make them. And I would say you should just spend a lot more time focused on creating than consuming, because the less you consume, the less that you're going to want to relapse. Yeah, keep yourself busy, like I said. And then the last thing I would say, hold yourself accountable. This is going to be a very hard pill to swallow. If you really honestly, like, let's be honest to yourself. If you really honestly wanted to stop, you would have been stopped by now. Let's be real. If you wanted to stop relapsing as much as you wanted to breathe, imagine you were in a pool and you were drowning and you were about to die. Think about how badly you would want to swim up to the top and get air. It's like you can't even think about anything else but just getting that air, because you know you're about to die in a couple of seconds. That type of want is how people act when they actually want something. When you actually want something, that's how you act. It's like you can't even sleep at night because you want it so bad. If we're just gonna be honest, the only reason you haven't stopped yet is because you don't want to. You know what I'm saying? If you wanted to stop as bad as you wanted to breathe while you're drowning, you would have been stopped by now. You would not be watching this video because it wouldn't be an issue. That's why I say #4, hold yourself accountable. The truth is, bro, as much as you sit here, oh, it's so hard, all this stuff, at the end of the day, bro, you just don't want to stop. Like, you don't. Because if you did, you would have stopped by now. That's the truth. So, and that's something I'm telling you that because I said it to myself. I realized that earlier this year. I'm sitting here making excuses, but at the end of the day, bro, I just didn't want to stop bad enough. I kind of wanted to, which is probably you. I didn't just really want to stop. And then I realized that, and I was like, damn, I'm lying to myself right now. You just don't want it bad enough. I mean, you really don't. All three of those things that I just described, you need to do. Like, if I really wanted to stop this addiction, it wouldn't even be an addiction because I would have stopped. If you do all of those things, you will stop. I can guarantee you. Do all those things that I just described. Keep that stuff in mind, and I can guarantee you and just stay consistent with everything else, and you should finally overcome lust once and for all. This should never be a problem again in your life. I have a foolproof free guide, right? And I'm telling you about this because it's free, and I want you to watch it because it'll help you change your life. It'll help you change your looks, and you'll start to realize that what you were doing was really stupid. I want you to go down there, click that link right now to this free guide, and I want you to watch and learn how to maximize your facial attractiveness to the absolute best of your ability, so that all of these urges you don't have to deal with alone. If you're not absolutely perfect, bro, if you're watching this video and you don't think you have the absolute top 10 best face you could possibly have, you need to watch that free guide. So go down there, click that video, watch that free guide, learn how to maximize your attractiveness so you never have to deal with one of these urges alone again. Okay?